Hello guys, this is Bilal Khan and you are watching Simplified Coding. Now in this video we are going to learn how we use navigation drawer in our application. Navigation drawer is a very common component and you can see it in almost of the applications. So it is very useful and it helps the user to navigate between the screens. So let's create a new project to learn how we can implement a navigation drawer in our application. So here I will create a new Android Studio project and let's name it nav demo, and you can give it any name actually. Hit next, and here you need to select navigation drawer activity. So remember this time we will not use empty activity, we will use navigation drawer activity. Hit next and then finish. Now you have to wait until your project is loaded. So guys, our project is loaded. Now let me increase the font size a bit so that you can get a clear view. So this is our project. Now if you are thinking that how do I add navigation drawer to my existing project, then it is very simple. Just click on your default package, right click, go to new, select activity, and from here you can select a navigation drawer activity. Now this is created by default, and once you create a project with navigation drawer, your work is actually done. If you play your application, then you will see your navigation drawer. So let me show it to you. So guys, this is our navigation drawer. You can see it is working. This is the navigation drawer. Now the thing we are going to learn is how do we customize these menus, how do we change the screen when we click on this navigation drawers. So let's do it. So the first thing we will do is we will remove this hello world. So come inside your content underscore main.xml, and this file contains your hello world. So remove this. So you see this time a number of XML files are created. First we have activity underscore main.xml, and it is our activity where we have our navigation view. So you see we have the header layout for our navigation view. So this is our navigation view actually, and we have a header layout. This is called a header layout. And the menu activity is this thing. So we have activity underscore main underscore drawer inside this menu resource file. So you can see this menu folder is also created, and we have a file named activity underscore menu underscore drawer here, and this line is referring to this file, and inside this file we have all the menus. So you can change it. So you can change it. Let's say you change this to this is import. So let's change it to import images. You see the value is changed here, and now if you will go to or we can change a couple of more menus. So you can change your menus from here. You can do whatever you want to do here. And again you will go to activity underscore main. You will see the menu names are changed. So this is how you can customize your menu from here. So whatever menu you want to make for your navigation drawer, you can do it here. Then we have app underscore bar underscore main. Now here we have our app bar layout, and inside the app bar layout we have the toolbar. Now all these things are created automatically. I just created a project with navigation tower and these things are created automatically. So first we have app bar layout, and this is actually the toolbar, the thing we see above our application screen. And here we have logout button, menus, and a bunch of things. You might be knowing these things if you use Android apps on a regular basis. Then we have the layout. Now this is the layout where we will switch our screens. So this is the layout. Then we have a floating action button. Now for now I'm deleting this. We don't want this floating action button for now. So after this we have our content main. So we have this content main, and here actually we will switch the layouts. So I will change it to relative layout for the sake of simplicity. And let's create a frame layout here. Let's create a frame layout, match parent ID, and we'll give an ID like screen area, and you can give any ID. And in this frame layout we will switch our fragments. So to make your screen inside your navigation drawer, you need to create fragments. So in this frame layout we will change our fragments. Let's say right now we are seeing this import fragment, then we will see this gallery fragment, then we will see the slideshow fragment, and so on. So we will switch the fragments inside this frame layout. Then come inside main activity, and here you will see a bunch of methods. So we have removed the floating action button, so we have to remove this as well, or else it will cause an error. So I will remove it. Now everything is fine. Now here we will switch our fragment. So this method on navigation item selected is executed when we click on these menus, on these navigation items. So whenever we will click one of these, then this method is executed, and this method changes the layout. Right now nothing is being changed as we have to code it. So we will perform the task here. So now what we need is fragments. So let's create some fragments. So to create a fragment, we need to create a normal Java class, and let's say we have import fragment. So we will write fragment or import fragment. That's it. Now when you are creating a fragment, you need to extend fragment on the class. So write fragment, and one thing, make sure you will find two fragments. One is inside android.app and the other one is inside android.support.v4.app. So make sure you use the support fragment, and if you are going to use this fragment, then you have to use android.app fragment everywhere. And if you are using android.support.v4.app fragment, then you have to use this fragment everywhere. So don't mismatch it. The fragment package should match everywhere. So if you are using support fragment, then you have to use support fragment. And if you are using a normal fragment, then you have to use normal fragment. So I will recommend that use the support fragment, as it supports the previous Android versions as well. So we are going to use this support fragment. Now this class is a fragment. Now for every fragment we create a respective layout file. So here inside layout I will create a layout file. So let's create a layout resource file, and here I will write fragment underscore, let's say, import. Okay. Then you can design your fragment as you want. Let's say you want a button here. Let's say we have a button. So we have a button for our fragment. Now we will set this layout to this fragment, and for this we need to override a method. So right click, generate, and go to override methods and find on create view, this method, and click OK. Now this method give us some parameters, and the first one is the layout inflator object, and by using this layout inflator object we will actually inflate our layout resource file. So we have our layout resource file here inside this XML file, and this is our layout file fragment_import, and we need to create Java object of this view, and to do this we are going to use this inflator object. Then we have view group container, and then we have bundle saved instance in state to save data, and we will get into these later. So let's first inflate our layout, and you see this method is returning a view. So we will inflate the layout using this inflator object, and then we will return the view. So we'll write here return inflator, this object, this inflator object. So we have to write return inflator dot, and we will inflate the layout. Now here we need to pass the resource ID of our layout file. So we will write r.layout.fragment import. Then just pass null and it will work. So we have our onCreate view, and this method will return us the view for this fragment. Now we will override one more method. So override methods, and we will override on view created, this method. Select this and hit OK. Now inside this method we can do the work that we do inside an activity, inside an onCreate method of an activity, and this is not an activity, so you cannot use find view by ID directly, but you can use this view object to call the find view by ID method. So we have a button, so we can directly find it, find view by ID, using the view object. So we'll write view find view by ID, then r.id our button ID. Then we can set on click listener, then new control space hint enter, and ID will do everything for you. That's it. Now we can here display a simple toast make text. Now we don't have a get application context here. Instead we need to use get activity. So inside, when you are in a fragment, everywhere you use this or get application context, you have to use get activity instead of get application context or this. So we will use get activity. Then you are inside import fragment, then the length, then show. That's it. Now we need to display this fragment when we click on this import menu. So let's do it. Come inside main activity, and here if id equals to nav camera. Now for this import the id is nav camera. So you can check the IDs here inside activity underscore main underscore drawer.xml. You see, for the import images we have ID as nav underscore camera. You can also change the IDs if you want, but for now let's leave it as it is. And here when we are clicking a camera, first I will create a fragment. So write fragment. Now make sure you have to use the support fragment, and if you are using this, then you have to use this fragment here as well. So that's why I told you that everywhere you need to use the same package for the fragment. So here we are using Android support v4 app fragment. So here also we need to write fragment of that package. So remember this, android.support.v4.app. So we have fragment equals to null. And when we will click on this, we will create a fragment of this class, import fragment. So we'll write fragment equals to new import fragment. So we have our fragment. Now below this, we will write, let's say if fragment not equals to null. So we will do this thing only when fragment is not null. And if the fragment is null, we can get a null pointer exception. So that is why I have written this line. Now here we will create a fragment manager object. Fragment manager equals to get support fragment manager. That's it. Now we will create a fragment transaction object. So we'll write fragment transaction and make sure you are using the support classes android.support.v4. Remember this. So we have fragment transaction ft equals to fragment manager, and we will begin the transaction. So what we need to do, we need to add our import fragment in the view. So we can write ft dot replace, and then the first parameter is the container view id, and we have this container. As I told you before, we have container inside content main. So we have this frame layout as our container. So the id of this frame layout is screen underscore area. So we will pass r dot id dot screen area. This is the resource container view id, and then we need to pass our fragment object. So we have this as our fragment object, so we can pass fragment. That's it. Now we just need to commit the changes. So we will write ft dot commit. That's it. Now it will work. So let me show you. So let's try. Click here. You see we have new menus now. Now when we will click on this import images, you see we have our fragment. Now let's click on this button. Now it will show you are inside import fragment. So you can do everything that you do in an activity inside a fragment as well. So the same way you can create more fragments. I will show you by creating one more fragment. So create one more fragment. Let's say this one is for go to gallery fragment. So we will write gallery fragment. That's it. Now again we need to extend the fragment class, which is android.support.v4.app. Remember this. Then we need to override two methods. The first one is on create view, and the second one is on view created. That's it. Now we also need to create a layout file for this fragment. So let's create a layout file. So let's say we have fragment gallery. Now here again we can create a button or something. Let's create a button. So we have this button, button 2, gallery fragment. That's it. Then come inside this gallery fragment, and here we need to return our layout. So we'll write return inflator dot inflate r.layout dot fragment gallery, and then null. Then here we will view dot find view by id r.id dot button. The id is button, and set on click listener. Then new control space enter, and here we can display a toast. Remember, you need to use get activity instead of get application context. And then you are inside gallery screen, then the length, and then show. That's it. Now come to main activity.java, and when we press gallery, we will create fragment equals to new gallery fragment. That's it. Now rest of the thing is same. Let's try running our application. Now let's try. So we are inside gallery screen, then we are inside import screen. So this is how you switch the screens, and the same way you can create fragments for every menu available here. So this is it for this video, guys. And one more thing I would like to tell you, that you can customize this header as well, and this is inside this nav_header_main.xml. so you can do the changes here and you will see the changes in your application as well. So that's it for this video, guys. If you found this video helpful, please hit on the like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already subscribed. You can also follow me on Facebook. I have my ID as PROBELALKHAN, which is Pro Bilal Khan. And you can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and Google Plus. And you can also follow my Facebook page. So thanks for watching, guys.